Hi guys, this is Jennifer with Lightbulb OBM, and I'm here today with the creator of the Allergy Kit, Dr. Ynge, and also the author of Finding Your Lost Child. Since it's Autism Awareness Month this month, we are going to be speaking about autism, and that's truly near and dear to my heart as my son has autism and allergies, and with using the kit, we have seen traumatic growth in our son with the Allergy Kit and doing ABA therapy. I also read her book and have found so many things that I have been speaking to her about that are just amazing and things that I didn't even know. So welcome, Dr. Ynge.
Thank you.
So Ynge, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself first?
Well, I'm an acupuncture physician and a naturopath, and I started to treat allergies in 1998. And a couple of years later, I started to get autism spectrum children. Autism and ADHD with that sometimes can be very disturbing also with behavior and temper tantrums and so forth. And I saw the suffering that the parents, well, the whole family went through, really. Sometimes it could be a family of 5 and maybe only one child was on the spectrum, but there could be both 2 and 3. And first of all, the emotional suffering they went through and all the difficulties with school and eating and going out or having anybody to watch their kids. And then when they started with, I started to treat them in my clinic at that time, it was very hard for them. Some of them lived far away, and others, as I said, that had more than one kid, and parents also had allergies. I think everybody does. And sometimes I ended up treating 5 people and charging 1, and it doesn't work that way, really. And of course, the parents didn't feel good about it either. And often, because of lack of time and lack of money, because of course it is costly, especially if you have more than one child you want to treat. And they stopped coming. And I knew that they could go so much further if they just finished their treatments. And that's when I began to develop a different technique than I was using at the time, which was NAAT. And I worked on this really for probably 5 years to put different things together, searching for the right way of treating so that people could treat themselves. And I mean, even easy to treat themselves and not only treat somebody else, which was my goal, that they could, people could treat themselves. And of course, then it's easy to treat their kids. And that's how the Allergy Kit was born. And I launched it in 2006 on the market, on the internet market. And since then, I've helped thousands of people getting rid of allergies and helping their autistic children and children on the spectrum.
That is amazing. Definitely, since starting the Allergy Kit with my son, we have seen his food come into flourish. This was a kid that would only eat mac and cheese, chicken nuggets, junk.
Pizza, probably.
Yes.
One of the favorites.
And seeing him actually willing to try new foods. A child who would never, ever try anything. A child that we took to a restaurant and was like, I'm not eating here. And now we'll be like, let's try it. And I'm like, yes, mom moment, but this is all stemming from starting the kit. And at first, I told you, I was very weary. I was like, this is not going to help him. Nothing's helped him so far. And we started, and I can't believe anything I make now, he tries. And we have, he tries it, and he'll tell you, no, I don't like it. Or I like it, but it's the texture. And a lot of kids on the spectrum have texture issues. So I won't force that. If it's a texture thing, fine. Then don't eat it. I let him spit that out. But if it's I don't like it, I'm like, well, you have to finish it. at least.
At least to get them to try, because that is really the hardest part. If you don't do the kit, they crave what they crave, and unfortunately, people or parents, they feel they have no other choice, that they will die of starvation, which I don't think they will, because sooner or later they will eat what's there.
Exactly. And we also
But
eat fruits and
it's
vegetables.
hard. It's very hard. It's a fight. It's a war.
And we're eating fruits and vegetables now. Yay!
Which is amazing, because that's one of the things that these kids do not want to eat. So of course their nutrition level is low, their immune system is low, and when they don't eat fresh veggies and fibers, well, the constipation is one of the hardest things to overcome if they don't want to change diet.
Definitely.
And then they, they are toxic, very toxic, because if they can't go to the bathroom, they absorb and reabsorb all the toxins they are taking.
Definitely.
The other thing is, if you don't eat organic, it's the same thing. You get more and more toxic. So how can you change if you don't change the basic?
Definitely, definitely. So with starting that and then having you have me read the book, I read the book, and after I read it, I had my mom read it as well. So from me highlighting the book, starring the book, I was like, oh, there's so many things. Oh my goodness. And then I had my mom read the book, and she even wrote, like, read this whole passage. And I was like, I read the book. Why are you making me read a new passage in the book? So I'm going to read one of these passages in the book. It says, other symptoms of gluten, casein allergy can be a high pain tolerance and self-injury. And I said, wow, because we put my son on a gluten and dairy-free diet, and it worked for a little bit, but then doing this and seeing him have a high pain tolerance and him hurting himself. And now with the Allergy Kit and applied behavior analysis, ABA therapy, we don't have a child hurting himself anymore. So I thought that was amazing, because I was a parent that had a kid that would self-injure himself. Or even
so there are probably a lot of other, kids, they bang their heads. First of all, I think it's the only way they're trying to come out and try to express themselves. But with what you're saying, what I wrote in the book, that with gluten intolerance, that you have this high threshold, that is part of the problem. That is part of why they do it. And some of the kids, they try to scratch themselves bleeding or cut themselves with something. And it's something they are trying to get through, trying to come out, but they don't know how to express it. And they don't really know what they feel. That's just what happens, what they do.
Right. And parents don't realize also, when you read this book and you find out so much information about how gluten and dairy and casein and all these different things all are doing with the gut, and how much the gut, and in the book it tells you this, the gut is like your second brain. And I was like, what? I was shocked. I'm at this point that I was like, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I thinking of myself, who's lactose intolerant, and going, no wonder why I feel the way I feel. It's all in my belly. I should be thinking, if I make my brain so wise, why am I not making my belly so wise?
And also, for example, in Chinese medicine, the liver is, the emotion of the liver is anger. And when these kids being so toxic and the liver trying to detox all the time, that's part of why they are so angry. They have these anger bursts. Even a little thing can make them blow up. And it's because of the poor liver. It's just overworked, and it's not the kid's fault.
Definitely not. I know also in the book, you talked about a lot of kids are walking on their toes. And I was like, ding, 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 my kid, totally my kid. And you're saying that there's things that they can do to help ground them. Can you explain that a little bit more? So that way, when they're ready to buy this book and they can see it and believe in it and understand it.
I mean, first of all, they walk on the toes because they have too much energy, and they're trying to go up. They are not grounded. It kind of shows itself. They are trying to fly almost.
Yes.
And of course, one way is to go on the beach and walk in the sand, walk on the grass. But if you can't do that every day or every morning, you can take a spoon. I don't have a spoon here. And you know, the spoon goes like this, and the underside of the spoon, you take that under the foot and stroke the feet, first one and then the other, 7 times each. That will help to ground them. And try it with a kid.
I know. It's just amazing the things that a normal parent, I would say, because I'm a normal parent, and we're just like, we don't know. And then you read this and you're like, really? And then you do it and you're like, oh, life, you know, and just seeing him grow and flourish and being able to, you know, be calm and hang out, and
be happier.
Such a happier child.
Yeah. And that is the whole thing, is to get these kids to become happy. Because first of all, it's easier to detox them. It's easier, everything is easier. That's when they start to try other foods. They are more friends with their siblings and their parents and their peers.
Definitely. Can you go ahead.
That's the goal, to get them happy and
it is.
I mean, I have seen so many marvelous changes. I mean, I had one mother who brought the kid, who was probably still is, special ed teacher, and the child was 8 years old. He was so angry and so. He would run after them with scissors, her parents, and knives, and the whole house was chopped up, more or less. And she did not know what to do. She got the kids, and after a few treatments, he totally changed. I mean, totally changed. He stopped the temper tantrums. She sent me a picture where he was sitting in school or preschool, I don't really remember what it was, and desiccating owl's shit. Something so small that he could never do before. Every time they tried to make him do anything, much bigger things, he would end up, because he couldn't do it. He was just too high strung. They would have to carry him out, kicking and screaming.
Definitely.
And he, you know, he has no problems anymore. And his mother could finally go back to work.
Definitely. I'm going to read a testimonial from a mom of an 11-year-old boy named Michael. Michael is an 11-year-old boy, very big for his age, was brought in by his mother, who was a patient of Dr. Ynge. She was a school teacher, and her son was in a special education class due to his behavior in her school. And because he was thought of to be slow, the mother was very intimidated by her son being in special ed class, and was also very upset with his behavior, not only in school. He was very disrespectful to her and to his grandparents too. There was a constant fight. After a few treatments, his behavior changed completely. One day, after coming home from grocery shopping, the mom went to the bathroom, and when she came out, he had put away the groceries and was on his way to throw away the garbage. That was a first. It had never happened before. And from that day on, he changed so much. He has moved from the special ed class and went on to become an honor student until he graduated high school. Dr. Ynge lost contact with him after they moved, but she will never forget him and his fabulous results. I can say that story is so true because it's my kid. And that's not my child, Michael. My child's son is Justin. My son is only 10, but of course this kid is not 12 years old anymore as well. But that it's amazing. And to know that my son was in a special educated classroom. He's not anymore. He's in a general education classroom.
That's fabulous.
Know that we can have our kids in those classrooms and to know that the behaviors won't be there and it can happen. And Dr. Ynge, can you tell them where they can find the Allergy Kit and where they can find your book, Finding Your Lost Child?
They can go to Amazon and find and look for it. We will have a link on the new website that's coming up soon, very soon.
So the book can be found on Amazon right now.
Yes.
But the Allergy Kit can be found where, Dr. Ynge?
TheAllergyKit.com. Very easy to remember, TheAllergyKit.com.
So guys, as a mom of a child with special needs and autism, I highly, highly recommend getting the Allergy Kit, the Autism Allergy Kit, and having a great read. This read is less than $10. It's so worth the money to even just read this book and have those aha moments.
I think it's on sale right now for just under $10.50.
Yeah.
It's normally $15.95. So Amazon has put it on sale, and we never know when that ends. So just go ahead, $10. I mean,
Worth the $10.
yes.
A great read.
I just want to add also about the reactions, because it's not only these kinds of reaction. I mean, any child on the spectrum or not, they have other allergic reactions. Like I had one child that I saw in my office because the mother did not want to do the treatment on her. She preferred to come once a week. And I have different kits, and the first one is, I have one here. It's the basic kit. They look the same on the outside, but then this only has 7 different vials plus a stress vial and a laser. But that's the one that everybody has to go through first. So I was treating this little girl who was covered from top, I mean, even in her scalp to toe with eczema that was itchy. This cute little girl, I mean, it really breaks your heart when you see it. And I treated her for the first vial, which contains egg, chicken, milk, dairy, vitamin C, and parasites. We're warm-blooded animals, so that's why we have parasites in there. And she didn't clear it. She came back the second time. She was still weak. I treated her one more time. The third time she came back, and she was still weak on the first vial. And then I tested her for what the first vial contains. That means I tested her for egg yolk, egg white, chicken, milk, and vitamin C. And she was strong on everything but chicken. And the mother said, oh, that's all I give her. So I treated her for just chicken and asked the mother not to give her any chicken for a couple of weeks. So when she came back 2 weeks later, all her eczema was gone. And she could eat chicken again. So I just wanted to say that sometimes you have to go a little deeper when it comes to the kit, but it's put together so that I put different things together because I want the results to be faster. I want people to see, I don't want them to go 15 times to just see if something works. So that was the reason, and that was the testimonial that because so many kids have eczema.
So many kids. And I can tell you, my business partner, she has eczema and she started the kit and her eczema is like almost gone, which is great. So it works. It truly does.
Yeah, I have an old friend, an old friend. She's probably over 75. And she has suffered from eczema for years and years and years. And it took her a little while. She had to treat and retreat with the kit, but all of a sudden it all went away. So, and she could hardly wear clothes because it was so both painful and itchy. So it's not only children that suffer.
It's adults and children, guys. So definitely go on the Amazon, purchase Finding Your Lost Child, and go to the AllergyKit.com and get yourself a kit. It's worth it. As a mom, totally worth it. We're doing it ourselves. on me and all three of my children, even though I have two children not on the spectrum and I have one on the spectrum, and they're all doing it. It's
Yes,
worth
everybody has allergies. And also we are having a lot of teenagers, of people who are grown up. I mean, we're getting bigger and bigger communities, is that what you call it, with autism or on the spectrum, and they have the same problems. So even if you're a grown-up with autism or spectrum disorders, get the kit and you will feel so much better.
Definitely.
I know, for example, grown-ups that say, oh, I am in ADD. Well, they're telling themselves they are it too, but they probably grew out of the hyperactivity, but it's allergies. And it has to do with that foggy thinking and the relationship between the brain and the gut. So it has to do with lifestyle, what you eat, if you know, garbage in, garbage out. Just think about that.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Ynge. It was a pleasure speaking with you in regards to autism. And if anybody has any questions or even wants to book a consultation with Dr. Ynge, you can go to email her at info@theallergykit.com. Again, that email is info@theallergykit.com. And again, the website is theallergykit.com, and the book is on Amazon. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. And I'm so happy about Justin.